So we're going to start talking about different types of extreme weather. Both of these videos are pretty cool minute Earth videos that have a little bit more focus on different types of extreme weather. I'll let you watch those on your own. The one on the top left is a pretty fun one as well. This is about how to survive a lightning strike. So, fun fact for you, there was a guy named, I believe, Roy Sullivan, and he holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the most amount of times that somebody has been struck by lightning. So I believe it was 7 times that he was struck by lightning over the course of his life. I think the odds of you getting struck by lightning are something like 1 in 10,000. So you're like, how in the world was he that unlucky? It's a little bit strange, but he was a park ranger, so he worked outside a lot, and a lot of times he was outdoors during these types of storms. So he was more likely to get struck by lightning than some other people. But just the sheer volume of times that he was able to get struck by lightning, and he survived all of them. He didn't die from a lightning strike. So it is pretty fascinating what happened to him. And if you wanted to read more about him, it's a pretty interesting story of how all that happened. He felt like the lightning was almost like chasing him after a certain point. Anyway, we're going to first start off talking about a thunderstorm. So a thunderstorm is a small, intense weather system. It produces the things you're looking for here are strong winds, heavy rain, lightning, and thunder. When we talk about lightning, it's a large electrical discharge that occurs between two oppositely charged surfaces. That would be a positive and a negative. So thunderstorms, the types of clouds that you're going to get on this one are generally the cumulonimbus clouds. And so lightning generally occurs because it's a buildup of friction. So we have learned before that warm air rises up and then the cold air sinks back down. So when you have this cold air mass meeting up with a warm air mass, right? If they come into contact with them, the warm air mass rises very rapidly and it will brush past that cold air mass. And when that happens, they rub next to each other really intensely. And that is what's generating a lot of friction. And it's just that friction is what's causing all of this. So you've probably had your own experience with generating a lot of friction before. If you have just like basically rubbed your feet on like a carpet, let's say, that friction is basically rubbing off like electrons that are on the end of some of your atoms there, and it transfer from one to the other, and now you are electrically charged where you weren't before. And then you touch something that is a conductor, something that is able to have the electricity pass through it very quickly, like a doorknob, let's say, and you can see a spark that will jump off from one to the other, and that kind of neutralizes that imbalance, right? The electrons jump from the thing that is positively charged to the thing that is negatively charged, to the thing that has too many electrons to the one that has too few electrons. It'll jump and it'll even them both out. So that's what you're seeing right here when you see a lightning strike here. So there's an imbalance here, and this is just correcting that imbalance of sorts. Lightning can jump from a cloud down to the ground. That is the most common way that you've seen it. It can actually just jump from cloud to cloud. And you can see that happening sometimes with no rain at all, just some heat lightning that's taking place. It can actually also jump from ground up to the sky. So there's kind of 3 different versions of how lightning can form there. And when you can see this taking place right here, as it jumps down. Sorry, I had another thought. Can't remember it, though. Now, with thunder, it's the sound that results from the rapid expansion of air along a thunder strike. So, remember, this lightning is creating an intense amount of heat. And it's actually lightning that strikes they say it's hotter than the surface of the sun, which is just mind-blowing. That can even happen here on Earth, even though it's temporary. So, what that's happening is the air expands, and it expands so fast, right? That air is, when it gets superheated like that, I mean, that is hot. And of course, we've learned that hot things tend to take up more room to spread out because they're less dense. So it happens so quickly that the air is jumping outward, and that creates that really loud sound. It's kind of like if you have a balloon, and the balloon has all that air trapped inside of it. It's a lot of air that's compressed together. Normally the air would spread out, but instead you have forced it into the smaller container. And when you pop the balloon, all the air expands out really fast, and that's the sound that makes that really loud popping sound. So on a much larger scale, that's what's happening when lightning strikes. And of course, you see lightning, and then you wait and you can count a couple of seconds until you actually hear the thunder. The reason that happens is because lightning is light, thunder is sound, and nothing travels faster than the speed of light. So you are seeing the light. The light reaches your eyes before the sound wave reaches your ears, just because they travel at different speeds. So that's what's happening when you see that. It's similar to when you see fireworks. There's a delay in the fireworks. You see the firework go off, and then like very shortly after that, you hear the sound of it exploding. It actually did happen at the same time, but as soon as they left, one's traveling faster than the other one. So that's the thunder sound that takes place afterwards. This video right here is a very cool, another one from the Weather Channel. I can't get enough of the Weather Channel. They are just so awesome as they do this really cool visualization of what you should do during a really intense thunderstorm, because thunderstorms can be very, very, very intense. It doesn't have to be hurricane conditions for it to be very windy. An intense thunderstorm can cause all sorts of problems that will be really dangerous for you to be outside. So you're going to want to try to avoid that as best as you can.